You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Right now at 7, we're visiting Wildcat Glades and highlighting the volunteers that make it such a special place.
Also, an inspiring story of a Pitt State athlete overcoming adversity.
And look at sunrise. It is a beautiful but cold start to the day across the 4 states. Cold front pushing through, bringing our temperatures down today. We'll talk about that cold and windy forecast coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Samantha Walker.
I'm Chris Warner. Just after 7 a.m. on this Friday in the 4 states, December the 12th. We have made it through the week. I know it's just starting our Friday, but we've made it here. If we can make it here, we can make it to the end of the day and make it to the weekend. It is going to be very cold this weekend, which we will discuss with you in just a few moments. And that can sometimes pose some problems for those working outside, but it doesn't necessarily stop those folks either.
No, and we have so many people, volunteering outside in the Joplin community. We visited a piece of land in Joplin that's quite unique. Wildcat Glades depends on dedicated volunteers who work thousands of hours preserving this special ecosystem while educating others about nature.
KOAM's Ty Park shows us how the community is making a difference.
Glades in Joplin is a special piece of land that is unique in the world. The Wildcat Glades Nature Group works to keep it going.
Last year, our volunteers clocked over 10,000 hours of volunteer service. It's quite a bit. They go out there on their hands and knees and they pull winter creeper, they pull spice burning bush, and then calorie pear, and then this week we're actually removing some cedar trees that don't belong out there.
Keeping the trails accessible and looking nice is important to the volunteers, and their second main focus is education.
One of the things that we work really hard on is educating people about water quality. This Shoal Creek is tested multiple times throughout the year, multiple times, to see if the quality is good. Shoal Creek passes again and again. So while it might look brown to people, that is not a bad thing. It's really not. You're going to find a lot of microorganisms.
The education is important. They bring in people to teach children about the glades and the wildlife around the glades.
We provide that environment and that opportunity for people to really get out there and make a difference. We can all whine about the environment, but how many of us are willing to get out there and work with it? I'll tell you, our volunteers do. Our volunteers are out there. We see between 75 and 100 different people a month in and out of this building, in and out of Shoal Creek.
In Joplin, Ty Parks, KOAM News.
The Wildcat Glades Nature Group is always looking for more volunteers. You can learn more on their Facebook page.
It's certainly an incredible group that does work very hard to take care of that place. And so hopefully if you've got some time to volunteer, you can get out there and do your part as well to keep it looking beautiful.
And it's such a great place to have near in our Joplin community, just to go walk, and
Yeah.
It's free to do so.
Yeah, if you just need to get outside, great place to get outside. But you may not want to spend too much time outside over the next few days as we've got some very cold air settling in. Cold front's already made it through our area this morning. Live look downtown Pittsburgh. We've got a beautiful sunrise. It's the temperatures that are less than beautiful this morning, but another great view there from our camera at 7th and Range Line in Joplin. Some great colors. A couple, 3 days ago, I want to say, there were a lot of photos of the sunset in the area, and when I got on the Facebook the next morning, there were photos of almost the same sunset from Des Moines to Oklahoma City. So we've been treated across a good portion of the area to some beautiful views out there. It's just the temperatures are wherever. They're everywhere at this point. KDOT camera 69-400 looking along 171. Looks good as well, as does the MoDOT camera 32nd in Range Line in Joplin. However, again, it is cold. Temperatures have dropped, and most of them are going to start leveling out. Now we're getting towards sunrise. We're going to start leveling out, and we're going to start gradually warming up a bit. We're 31 in Joplin, 30 in Pittsburgh, and up north, you've also leveled out. These upper 20s really haven't changed much in the last, a half hour to 45 minutes. Now down south, Cassville, again, you were at 46 earlier. Now you're down to 39. Still some low 40s out there, and some locations south of I-44, you may have a recorded high today that will be warmer than what your afternoon temperature is, because some locations down here were in the mid, even upper 40s ahead of the front early this morning. So that may cause cause a little discrepancy there. Now, the winds are occasionally gusting to 20, but it's just enough. We've got wind chills back into the 20s, the low 20s out there. So it's about an 8 to 10 degree drop on those wind chills. Does feel a little bit colder as we're getting the day started. And we'll have those north winds again occasionally gusting to 20 throughout the day. We're going to start going mostly cloudy. We'll spend a good portion of the day mostly cloudy, and after about 5 or so, we'll start to go partly cloudy, and will remain that way overnight. And the winds, good news is, at least overnight tonight, they will be calm. Temperatures, we should be in the upper 40s. We are not for most of us. We're going to go mid-30s by 9, low 40s by noon. Afternoon highs, or at least daytime temperatures, going back up into about the mid-40s out there, and those north winds occasionally gusting to 20. Now, tomorrow, we're actually going to be closer to normal. We'll warm up just a bit, and then that Arctic air arrives I was talking about. We'll go over those details and the next warm-up on the way here in just a few more minutes. Samantha?
Chris, thanks. Pitt State has seen plenty of remarkable athletes throughout the years, but none quite like the softball star, proving every day that the impossible isn't so impossible. KLM's Ben McLeish shows us how faith and determination are helping her swing the fences once again.
Just 7 months ago, Kendall Forbes was a difference maker for Pitt State on the diamond. A game changer. A player who could swing the energy the moment she stepped on the field.
She's a spark plug, man. She's super athletic, super fast.
The kind who could steal a win all by herself.
She won a game single-handedly for us. Down 1, there's 2 outs in the 7th, and she's on 3rd, and she stole home and just changed the game.
She played with passion, purpose, the kind that started long before college.
Well, I like to joke that I was born on a softball field.
But 1 second is all it takes for a story to change forever. In late July, Kendall Forbes was in a car wreck, a wreck that nearly took her life. Head trauma, a broken pelvis, pins through her skin, holding her body together.
It's kind of like Tinker Toys that were keeping her pelvis stable.
The recovery was brutal, emotionally, physically, mentally. But the nurses at Madonna Rehabilitation Hospitals saw something in Kendall, the same fight she showed on the field.
When she couldn't put weight through her legs and had a big piece of metal sticking out of her pelvis, that's very easy to get frustrated and sad and angry, but she used that energy and put it towards her rehab and what she could do.
And when the day finally came, the day she could stand on her own 2 feet again,
I bolted. I was standing and walking within,
10 minutes.
30 seconds of that call.
But there was something else guiding her through each step, the love of her family.
We're just so grateful to have her here.
A family rooted in faith, leaning on prayer, trusting that God was not done with Kendall.
He must have something good in store for me here.
And now, little by little, the girl born on a softball field is taking her first swings at a comeback.
She knows what she wants, and she's going to go after it, and she's going to work really hard to do it, and she's going to do it in the right way.
The plan? Return to the diamond in 2027, a goal that feels destined to the people who know her best.
It's like inevitable what she's doing. I don't know if there'll ever be another time in my life where I'll want to write a name on the lineup card more than that name right there, the first chance I get.
A recovery most would have called impossible. Kendall Forbes is living proof that love, perseverance, and unshakable faith can turn life's curveballs into home runs. Ben McLeish, KOAM Sports.
So inspiring. Well, a 36-year-old man was hospitalized Wednesday night after a reported stabbing incident in Pittsburgh. Officers found the man with non-life-threatening wounds, and the victim was taken to the Overland Park Medical Center for treatment. Authorities say the incident occurred on South Broadway during a disturbance between individuals. Police have located the suspected perpetrator and available witnesses. The investigation is still ongoing, and no arrests have been made. Well, as temperatures drop, Watered Gardens Ministries in Joplin is providing a warming center. The center is open to anyone at times when temperatures reach 20 degrees or lower. Guests are not required to be registered with the overnight shelter that is open every night. Last year, they had over 29,000 overnight stays. A number of organizations around the 4 states open their doors to the public when the temperatures drop. This QR code will take you to a list of many of them on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Most warming centers will open only when temperatures are 32 degrees or below, and in some cases only during business hours, so you might want to call ahead to check the hours. Also, if your organization has a warming center that you'd like to add to the list, just go to the site to see how. And those are our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. Coming up, Trump is launching a new gold card immigration program. Topping Nation Watch this morning, President Trump's newly launched gold card immigration program is facing backlash as critics say the administration's policies unfairly favor the wealthy. Fox News senior national correspondent Rich Edson has the latest.
If you've got $1 million, U.S. residency is up for sale thanks to the Trump Gold Card. The application website says foreign nationals can now receive U.S. residency if they make a contribution of $1 million and pay $15,000 for a background check.
All funds go to the United States government. Could be a tremendous amount of money.
There's also the corporate gold card, where businesses can pay that $15,000 processing fee and $2 million for each employee they'd like to sponsor.
So these are the best people coming in. They're economically capable of driving our economy, and they're really being better. And so this is sort of raising the value of the people coming into this country.
Critics of the program say it unfairly favors the wealthy. Stand up, fight! At a time of continued ICE protests across the country.
We wanted to send a strong message to ICE, knowing that they were planning on showing up and intimidating and detaining people. The community stands with immigrants and that we oppose these ICE actions.
Also Thursday, a Maryland judge ordered the federal government to release Salvadorian national Kilmar Abrego Garcia from custody. Garcia's case became highly controversial this year when the government removed him to El Salvador.
This case has always been about the government's trying to prove that they can do whatever they want, whenever they want, to whomever they want.
As for those applying for the new Trump Gold Card, the website says those who pay the fees and are approved will receive U.S. residency in record time. In Washington, Rich Edson, Fox News.
President Donald Trump signs an executive order on artificial intelligence to stop states from enacting their own regulations. Trump signed the order at the White House yesterday amid ongoing pushes by both parties in Congress to enact more regulations on AI. The president says he wants to avoid burdensome rules in the country's AI race against China. The executive order was directed to the Attorney General to set up a new task force to challenge state laws and require the Commerce Department to create a list of problematic regulations. The order could also restrict funding and grants for broadband programs to states with AI laws. 4 states, Colorado, California, Utah, and Texas, have already passed laws for AI in the private sector. That's a look at some of today's top national stories. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. 7:17 coming up on 7:18. On this Friday morning, we're going to start with the future track. Now, the cold front has officially made its way through our area this morning, and temperatures have fallen back behind it. The good news is the further back behind the cold front you are, really north of I-44, your temperatures have kind of leveled out now. We've reached that low point, and they'll start to warm up a smidge as we head through the morning and into the afternoon. Now, we're going to have mostly cloudy skies. In fact, getting that already. We've had some clearing, but looking at the SkyWatch Storm Tracker, there are more clouds back behind all of it, already pushing in right along Yates Center, Chanute, Fort Scott, Nevada, and north, and that'll thicken up across the region, leaving us with mostly cloudy skies through the day. It'll be about 5 o'clock or so that will start to go partly cloudy across the area, and we'll have those north winds still occasionally gusting upwards of 20 miles an hour, so it will make it feel a bit cooler out there. Now, overnight tonight, winds will become calm, and it's brief because by about mid to late morning tomorrow, those north winds will pick right back up again, and it'll make it feel not too bad because we're going to be warmer tomorrow. But then it gets bitterly cold, and that's the crazy flip-flop here. We warm just a wee bit tomorrow. We'll be a little closer to normal. But then, late Saturday evening, clouds increase, north winds, well, I think in this case, northeast winds will begin to increase. And that Arctic air mass that's bringing some snow well off to our east, but it is a broad area of very cold air, is going to sink into our region as we go late Saturday into Sunday. So this is where our concern lies again, is the temperatures are going to begin to drop pretty quickly late Saturday, eventually down into the teens, maybe even some single digits. And with even the slightly gusty winds, that's going to put wind chills back near 0 to 5 above. And for some, especially up north where it gets a little colder, those wind chills could drop below 0, maybe 5 or 10 below 0. So potentially dangerously cold wind chills as we go Saturday night into Sunday morning. That was the wrong button, but that's okay. So that's what we want to just give you the heads up about now. If you're heading out for church on Sunday morning, if you've got something going on Saturday night, or maybe something else early Sunday morning, you need to bundle up and you need to be prepared again for it to be, again, for some, dangerously cold out there. Now I've got it back in the right place here. So we'll go mostly cloudy Saturday night into Sunday morning. Then we'll start to go partly cloudy, maybe even mostly clear at times by Sunday afternoon, but it's going to be an illusion because it will still be very cold out there, and those northeast winds could still gust upwards of about 15-20 miles an hour, keeping wind chills into the teens most of the day Sunday. So really, you've got to just be prepared for some bitterly cold temperatures because it's going to be the coldest we've seen so far this half of the year in terms of especially wind chills out there. All right, starting our day right around the low 30s, upper 30s by 11 a.m. Our highs today below normal into the mid 40s, and then we'll drop back into the upper 20s tonight. So that's actually seasonably cold. It's about where we should be. And then seasonably warm tomorrow. Upper 40s, breezy, down into the teens, single digits, only in the 20s. Our highs Sunday will be lower in most cases than our average low for this time of year. That's the type of temperature drop we're talking about. Back into the upper teens Sunday night. But again, the Arctic blast here is short-lived. The temperatures next week, they've been very consistent. The forecast has stayed pretty consistent on this. We'll start out in the 40s, eventually the 50s, and maybe even the low 60s by next weekend. We still have those isolated shower chances Tuesday through Thursday. That is a check of your forecast. We are back with more right after this.
Topping Health Watch. The Food and Drug Administration expands a recall for cinnamon products that may contain lead. The agency added cinnamon powder from the brand Lucky Foods to its list of cinnamon products with elevated levels of lead, which began in July of 2024. The recalled product was distributed from April 11th to September 1st in 14 states. No illness have been reported in relation to the added recalled product. The brand says it has since ended its relationship with the supplier linked to the contaminated product. Researchers are working on what is being described as a vaccine for fentanyl. A biotech company says it is about to test the drug on humans next year. Fox News' senior national correspondent Rich Edson has details.
It's so dangerous, an amount equal to a few grains of salt can kill. It's cheap, highly addictive, and mixed in street drugs and bogus pharmaceuticals. Now there's an effort to create a vaccine for fentanyl.
We want to create the first long-lasting preventative countermeasures for synthetic drug threats.
Armor Sciences says its vaccine will block fentanyl from reaching the brain and prevent its effects, the feeling of euphoria, overdose, and death. Doctors say this vaccine would act just like other inoculations.
You tell the immune system, hey, fentanyl may be coming, and then when it sees fentanyl, it makes antibodies and attacks the fentanyl before it ever gets to the brain.
Armor says the first phases of the vaccine's clinical trial will begin in the next few weeks in the Netherlands, and that its vaccine could potentially offer a year of protection. The company is exploring injections or oral strips as a way to take it.
I want to make this as easily accessible to people as I possibly can, both to law enforcement, military, first responders, the inadvertent poisonings that happen every single day.
Armor also says its fentanyl vaccine will serve as a platform to build more vaccines to address emerging drug threats that law enforcement says are already here.
Dangerous and deadly synthetic opioids, substances that in some cases could be 20, 40, 50, 100 times more potent than fentanyl.
There are questions of whether drug users could take a large enough dose to overwhelm the antibody protections, or if the vaccine would block prescribed painkillers. Armor notes these clinical trials take time. The company says after the Netherlands trials, it intends to begin trials in the United States and possibly ask for fast-track approval. In Washington, Rich Edson, Fox News.
Well, coming up, a four-vehicle collision on I-44 near Carthage yesterday.
The four states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:29. I'm Samantha Walker. An I-44 crash near Carthage backs up traffic 4 miles. Yesterday's collision involved 3 cars and 1 semi-truck. 2 people were transported to hospitals with minor injuries. 2 pickups collided in Webb City yesterday. 1 person was transported to a hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The crash was cleared in about 60 minutes. Wisconsin officials have released body camera footage showing the aftermath of a crash in downtown Milwaukee. The images show the dramatic rescue of an FBI agent whose SUV was hanging over the edge of an interstate overpass. Ben Jordan reports.
Is still in here? Yeah, she's in here. I broke the back window.
An FBI agent on her way to work during rush hour traffic.
Watch your hand here.
Rescued from this I-794 overpass after a frightening crash that left her SUV's passenger side wheels hanging over a retaining wall.
There it is. All right.
Yeah.
He's good.
The driver of this red car who caused the crash told deputies he was trying to avoid hitting a driver who slammed on the brakes right in front of him.
They were starting to walk.
Yeah.
I turned into this lane because I thought I'm going to hit them.
Yeah.
And I didn't see, but I thought there's a chance no one's here, and it was a guarantee I was going to rear end someone pretty hard. So I turned into this lane.
The Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office says the driver swerved into the FBI agent's SUV, leading to a citation.
Just so you are going to get a ticket today for unsafe lane deviation, okay?
Paramedics and deputies are heard talking about how close the agent came from falling over the edge.
Snow, it's dangerous. Yeah, I know, man. Yeah. They turn into ramps. Yeah, they do.
The first responders raising concerns about snow built up from plowing crews, creating a ramp along the retaining wall.
That could have been really bad. I know.
The Milwaukee County's Department of Transportation is responsible for plowing the overpass. A spokesperson tells me, quote, "There is no evidence to suggest that snow accumulation, either on the roadway or the walls, contributed to the accident."
The sheriff's office says the FBI agent declined medical attention on scene. Well, in Arizona, a woman is sharing her story after surviving a fiery crash on I-10 last May. 18-year-old Ashari Montgomery was trapped inside her burning car when Goodyear police officer Dakota Berry arrived and pulled her to safety. Body camera video shows the intense flames as Montgomery was rescued, suffering severe burns to a third of her body. She continues to recover after multiple surgeries and therapy, wearing a full bodysuit to help her heal. Montgomery, now a psychology student, says she's thankful to be alive and hopes to inspire others facing difficult times. Well, U.S. Army Specialist Sarah Beckstrom was laid to rest Tuesday. She was given full military honors during her burial at the West Virginia National Cemetery. The 20-year-old died last month after she was shot in the line of duty in Washington, D.C. She was deployed in August for Operation D.C. Safe and Beautiful. Now let's check in with Chris for a quick look at the forecast.
Yeah, we've got another beautiful sunrise out there this morning. The clouds, though, starting to thicken up, as you can see from downtown Pittsburgh, and we will be mostly cloudy for a good portion of our day today. Our camera 7th and range line in Joplin looking good. Clouds not quite as thick here yet, but again, they are on the way. Heading over to the KDOT camera, that's at 69 and 400. Looking along 171 here, we're looking good as well. And we'll head to the MoDOT camera quickly at 32nd and range line. We got plenty of folks out there getting their day started. And it's cold this morning. Temperatures 31 in Joplin, 30 in Pittsburgh. Now, the good news is those of you behind the front, especially north of I-44, your temperatures have leveled out. You've reached where they're going to get. So these upper 20s up here have not moved. These low 30s have not moved much. Down south, though, these temperatures still slowly falling back a bit. Again, earlier this morning, Cassville made it up to 36 degrees out there. So we also have that north wind behind the front, creating some wind chills. Feels like 19 in Yates Center and Iola. We got some low 20s out there. And even in Cassville now, you're starting to feel the nip from that wind as well. Feels like 36. Through the day, again, mostly cloudy skies. skies out there. North winds occasionally gusting upwards of 20 miles an hour, so it will make it feel a bit colder. And eventually, by about 5 o'clock or so, we'll start to go partly cloudy as we head in the late evening and overnight hours, and winds will become calm. Temperatures today below normal, though. Mid-30s by 9, low 40s by noon. Most of us mid-40s for our highs. A reminder, though, we're also going to have some locations that were south of I-44. And again, Cassville's an example here. You were a little warmer this morning. We even had close to 50 south of I-44 ahead of the front. So your recorded temperature may say 50, even though this afternoon you only may make 45 or so, simply because it was warm early this morning. We've got warmer temperatures, at least slightly warmer tomorrow, and then that Arctic air arrives tomorrow night. Details on that in just a few more minutes. Samantha?
Thanks, Chris. After 7 years of searching, the Oklahoma Emergency Response Team has found a permanent home in Miami. The group is converting a former church into a warming station and outreach center, fulfilling a pastor's longtime prayers to help those in need. KOAM's Blake Goley shows us how community action is finally answering her prayers.
Try not to cry because God is so amazing.
I'm standing inside a sanctuary that used to be home to a church here in Miami, a place its pastor says was always meant to help those who needed it most. She tells me the transition is not about her at all, but about following what she believes God has called her to do.
I and another elderly lady would walk these streets and pray and cry and ask God to bring in a facility that we could house people and help people and clothe people and feed people. So he's standing there telling me he does all that stuff. That's not chance.
Those prayers were answered through the Oklahoma Emergency Response Team, the group now taking over the former church and working to turn it into a warming station and outreach center for people in the community.
This is a warming station. So they can come in and sleep, get warm, and then of course daytime they're off doing whatever they do. And then we're going to have classes in here for them. We're going to basic life classes, everything from hygiene to interviews, how to do that. We're going to have classes in here for sewing. It's kind of a lost art for a lot of people.
The response team hopes to install showers and beds in the near future. Reporting in Miami, Blake Gully, KOAM News.
The group is currently accepting pillows and blankets as they prepare for opening the shelter this weekend. For details on how you can help, visit our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Well, Mark Twain's Polar Express Family Night drew a large crowd with dozens of elementary students and their families coming together for an evening of festive fun in Carthage. Highlights included hot cocoa, a reading of the Polar Express, and each child taking home their own bell. Organizers say this is the third year for the festive event.
It's really important for, I feel like, parents to see some of the things we do in the classroom with Read Aloud. We ask, about characters, setting, events. We do retelling, summarizing, asking questions throughout the read, changing your voice, and just practicing fluent reading with your child. I think is important for parents to kind of see what we get to do with them in class.
The big highlight of the night, a surprise visit from a special jolly guest from the North Pole, bringing extra magic to the Polar Express. Well, that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. Shannon Becker comes into the studio to present his 3 top news stories of the week. Welcome back. We've got Shannon Becker in the studio with his big 3 news stories of the week. Good morning, Shannon.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
No problem. Let's take a look at the big 3 stories, what's happening where you live, live and local. This last Monday morning, a rollover crash to begin off the week. Boy, what we found out, driver fell asleep. What looks like a very serious crash. A driver suffered non-life-threatening injuries right on the edge of Joplin and Airport Drive Village. Missouri State Highway Patrol are investigating. If you're an overnight worker, of course, sometimes you're tired. Maybe pull over, take a little cat nap, or don't get on the road at all if you got a long drive. Very, very dangerous, obviously. Number 2 story, live and local. It happened last Friday morning, just right after the show here in Shota, Oklahoma, near Pryor. This is the Oklahoma State Medical Examiner. This is the man that passed away, Emmanuel Manny Sikdukakis, if I could say that right, sorry. He's from Idaho, but he was a pilot of this helicopter that they think probably clipped some wires as they were hanging new wires for GRDA and that electrical system down there. More on our website at KOAM News Now. Our number one story, it's kind of lighthearted, but maybe not for the people that work there. At Jefferson's, everybody's been talking about this week. Jefferson's announced this last Saturday to their staff they're going to be closing. Last day is going to be December 28th. So also they're going to be giving away $1 for every order of wings to the Joplin school system. So people have been asking, what are they going to do with the dollars on the wall? I'm not necessarily sure. I don't know. Is that legal tender after people write all over it? Maybe. I don't know.
I would want to test it.
Yeah, there you go. So Jefferson's, like I said, it's coming up the 28th if you want to make it in there for your last trip there. It's kind of sad to see that location closing. I know a lot of people enjoy it.
Yeah.
How about our Christmas light list? We've got it. It's out. We're adding to it all the time. I think there's about 35 places right now. This is in Commerce, Oklahoma. Rush Lights. I spent a lot of time putting that one to music. Webb City, of course, at King Jack Park. They have that huge drive-through display that you can see. This was in the Hickory Hills neighborhood, the Molinaro. They're the plastic form stuff from the 50s and 60s. Really cool. Here's another one. This one's in Neosho near Sherman and Riley Street. So we've got directions to all of these locations, and they're kind of broke up into sections, and you can kind of follow along through that list. So if you want to check it out, it's our Christmas light list, our bonus story of the week this week.
And those are always so fun because, especially during the holidays, it's something free typically that you can go do. Just get in the car and drive.
Yep.
I know I'm going to sound like a crazy cat lady, but I'm taking my cats
to see the Christmas lights?
I learned last year they really like it because, I don't let them outside. They're not
right.
But they really like it because they like sparkly things that move.
Yeah,
they're like, oh
there you
my
go.
Goodness, look at it.
Well, we work hard. I work hard on this list, so everybody enjoy it.
We appreciate it so much. Well, thank you so much, Shannon. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It's coming up now at 7:45 on this Friday morning. We're starting, of course, with the future track. Cold fronts push through the area. Mostly cloudy skies building in across the region as well, and will stay that way through the majority of the day. We'll also have these north winds occasionally gusting upwards of about 20 miles an hour. So it'll make it feel just a bit colder out there for us. And then after 5 or so, we'll start to go partly cloudy. And then later this evening, winds are expected to be calm. It's brief, but they will be calm overnight into early tomorrow morning. But by about mid to late morning on Saturday, those winds will pick back up, gusting occasionally to 20, and we'll have partly cloudy skies through the day. Now, tomorrow, we're actually going to be just a smidge warmer than today, and in fact, many of us are going to be closer to normal tomorrow than what we will be today. However, late tomorrow night, that Arctic air mass starts to roll in. Winds will be gusting. We're going to look at the potential for bitterly cold, if not for some folks, dangerously cold wind chills. So Saturday night into Sunday morning, temperatures are going to drop. They are going to take a dive. We've talked about in the past where temperatures drop and we would tell you, it's not going to plummet. In this case, that's going to be the case. That's going to be the situation. These temperatures are going to drop pretty quickly, and they're going to fall back into the teens and maybe even some single digits, especially in our northern counties as we go overnight Saturday into Sunday. That said, you factor in these winds gusting even just 15 or 20 miles an hour, that is enough to put wind chills for most of us at about 0 to 5 above. But some of us could be 0 to 5 below, and up north where it gets a little colder, those wind chills could be as low as 10 below 0. So you need to bundle up. You need to be cautious. You need to be careful, especially if you are a little more susceptible to that cold, because that's very cold. And for this part of the season, for this part of the year, it's going to be one of our coldest ones yet. We've had some cold temperatures here lately, but we haven't had the winds tied in with it, putting those wind chills so low like that. So be prepared. The other thing is Sunday, and we might see a little more sunshine on Sunday, but it's going to be very cold. And with those northeast winds, again, 15, 20 miles an hour at times, it's going to keep our wind chills close to the teens most of the day because our highs on Sunday most of us are going to be colder than what our average low this time of year is supposed to be. That's how cold it's going to get. This morning, should be about the low 30s to start for most of us, and we'll eventually make the upper 30s by 11 a.m. Mostly cloudy skies, making around the mid 40s across the region. Again, for some of you, again, south of I-44 especially, we had locations south of I-44 ahead of this front near 50. So your actual recorded high may be warmer than what you reached this afternoon. Into the evening, we start going partly cloudy, and we'll fall back into the upper 20s tonight, so seasonably cold across the area. And tomorrow, like I said, seasonably warm, upper 40s, maybe even a couple of low 50s before, boom, that happens. Teens single digits for the lows. Of course, those dangerously cold wind chills only into the 20s, maybe a couple of low 30s here and there on Sunday. Now, Sunday night, we're into the upper teens and some low 20s. Temperatures don't drop as much Sunday night into Monday, because Monday starts that next warm up. And the nice thing, at least at this point, is next week's forecast beginning on Monday has been very consistent for several days now, with this gradual warming trend whereby next weekend we'll be 30 to 35 degrees warmer in some cases than where we were on Sunday. And we still have some isolated shower chances Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Let's check your forecast. We're back with more right after this.
Well, this holiday party in England got a little wild. Take a look at this.
The animals at the Whipsnade Zoo got into the holiday spirit early with their own holiday party. That's like the kids trying to check their stockings right now. Well, zookeepers brought seasonal foods and gifts for them, including a tree-shaped ice block for the penguins, Christmas trees for the elephants, and gifts with snacks stuffed inside for their those things.
McKay's.
That's how you say it?
I think so, McKay.
Good enough. And zoo officials said human visitors can also join in on some of the fun holiday events. And that does, like the elephants carrying the tree. Next time, if you get a live tree, you can just have the elephant come in and take care of it for you.
It was very specialized.
Yeah, I like that.
They're not going to give elephants ice blocks.
No.
To the penguins.
But exactly. And that's really cool. You know what else is cool? A simple pop-up booth in McKinney, Texas, which, by the way, if you recall that weather clip from that station down there, everyone in McKinney was dead several years ago. But now, a simple pop-up booth in McKinney is offering the type of advice that only grandmothers can give.
The Grandma Stand is located at the neighborhood farmers market this holiday season. Grandma Nancy is one of 3 women who staff the booth and provide a warm smile, a listening ear, and some free advice with no appointments needed. The concept got its start far away from Texas in New York City.
This is like Lucy in Peanuts.
I mean,
but there's no charge.
My mom gives advice all the time.
I give unsolicited information all the time. Well, it was created in 2012 by a man who set up a booth for people to talk to his then 95-year-old grandmother, who has since passed away. Now the project has grown to several cities with even more grandma stands planned. I think everybody could use some grandmother advice every so often.
And you know what? Maybe that is a good idea, because maybe you're at home and you're like, gosh, my family does not appreciate all of my wisdom. Maybe go sit up at a farmer's market for people who are like, you know what?
Perhaps so.
And maybe you should charge 5 cents or a quarter or whatever it was Lucy was charging.
I think Lucy charged a nickel. I mean, with inflation, you could probably take it to a quarter.
Probably. Well, you may need those quarters, because a rare bottle of Dom Perignon champagne from a royal wedding decades ago sells for nearly $60,000.
That's going to be a lot of quarters.
A lot of quarters. The Magnum of Dom Perignon Vintage 1961 champagne was specially produced for the 1981 wedding of Prince Charles and Lady Diana.
It went up for auction yesterday at a Danish auction house in Copenhagen. The luxurious brand of vintage-only champagne was a limited edition wedding release. It had a label saying, specially shipped to honor the marriage of His Royal Highness, the Prince of Wales and Lady Diana Spencer, 29 July 1981. A wine expert at the auction house says only a dozen bottles were made and were meant to be opened on their wedding day.
He adds that no one knows what happened to the others. The auction house says the seller is a Danish collector who previously purchased the bottle from a London wine merchant.
Certainly interesting there. Very, very rare vintage. And something else for you. Warner Brothers Pictures has released their first teaser trailer for Supergirl.
The action-packed DC Comics film stars Millie Alcock as Kara Zor-El, the cousin of Superman.
Now, the trailer's opening scene shows Krypto the Superdog relieving himself on a newspaper with Superman on the outstanding. Kara wakes up from a hangover after celebrating her 23rd birthday.
The movie is set on another planet where Kara and Krypto battle multiple enemies. It's also the spin-off from the summer's blockbuster hit Superman, starring David Cornsweet.
Supergirl is set to soar into theaters on June 26. Sounds like certainly an intriguing movie for sure.
You know, the only character I really cared about in Superman was Krypto, so I support that.
Okay, well then you've got something to check out. We'll be back with more right after this.
Well, then you've got something to check out. We'll be back with more right after this. Well, then you've got something to check out. We'll be back with more right after this. Well, then you've got something to check out. We'll be back with more right after this. Well, then you've got something to check out. We'll be back with more right after this. Well, then you've got something to check out. We'll be back with more right after this. Well, then you've got something to check out. We'll be back with more right after this. Well, then you've got something to check out. We'll be back with more right after this. Well, then you've got something to check out. We'll be back with more right after this. Well, then you've got something to check out. We'll be back with more right after this. Well, then you've got something to check out. We'll be back with more right after this. Well, then you've got something to check out. We'll be back with more right after this. Well, then you've got someth
are going to be a bit on the cold side today, below normal. Mid-40s out there, winds out of the north, occasionally gusting to 20 with mostly cloudy skies. Partly cloudy through the evening and overnight, calm winds and seasonably cold, down to about 29. And then tomorrow, we're seasonably warm initially, upper 40s, maybe a couple low 50s. Then we're down in the teens, single digits Saturday night and Sunday with an Arctic blast pushing in. Wind chills could be as low as 0 in some cases, maybe lower than that. Only into the 20s on Sunday, but again, this Arctic blast short-lived because we start warming up again, rolling into next week. Rain chances Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Well, it's going to make you want to go in hibernation, I think, this weekend. And, you know, who else is in hibernation? Almost some bears. But a playful moment between two bears is caught on camera. A visitor at the Queens Zoo in New York recorded two young Adrian bears using a branch as a sort of seesaw.
Now, the zoo's directors talked about this, and these bears, they're curious, they have playful behavior, and it's typical of their instincts to explore and test their surroundings.
Aww.
So very cool there, and yeah, lots of fun out there. It looks a little warmer up there. Maybe not, but it looks a little warmer. That's going to do it for now. We'll be back at noon with more news and weather.
Have a great rest of your morning.